Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and we just want to let all our everybody out there who has really supported Mystic Matters and Frank in the studio. We are back for 2015, and we've got a great lineup this year, so we hope you pay attention Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Good evening.
Good evening,
Tricia,
Susette.
Walsh. It's been a lot going on.
There has been, and it's finally spring.
And
we're excited to kick off a new year of Mystic Matters with new great guests. And we have a lot going on at the Chamber as well. New year, we have a new staff member. Kristen Hartnett is our new manager of membership and sales. We're very excited to welcome her to our team. And Hannah Stewart has been promoted to our events director. And we just love our team that we have at the office. And I encourage you to stop by anytime. Our doors are always open. We're willing to chat. And
again, located on the second floor of the Packer Building.
Packer Building in downtown, right on Route 1, right outside of downtown Mystic. And other than that, we also have our new website launched, which we will have our Mystic Matters episodes airing on via YouTube. Mm-hmm. So lots of exciting things happening at the Chamber. And
your new website.
The new website is very exciting. And it's great to kick off as we go into spring with our first guest of the year, Spike Livdell. He is the president and founder of New England Science and Sailing.
Welcome, Spike.
Great to be here.
Yes.
It's nice to have you. And just want to let you know, on our first show here, Spike has provided some beautiful captions. And I want to say the activities of basically the kids on the water, and sort of, what did you say to me was the breadth of activities?
Just like this summer, we'll have 300 different programs.
Okay.
So throughout this taping, you will see pictures of kids and even adults, hopefully getting out on the water and having fun and learning. That's really what NESS is all about.
So NESS stands for what, Spike?
New England Science and Sailing Foundation. We're a nonprofit 501c3. We're an adventure education program. So really what that means is getting individuals, children, students out in the water where they're not only learning the function of sailing and marine sciences, but they're learning about self-confidence. They're learning teamwork. They're getting leadership skills. The three of us could be out in a boat and we all have different skill sets, but we have to learn how to communicate. And when you take that and individuals from the inner city of New London who've never been on the water before and expose them to that, those skills are just truly transformational and life-changing, I think.
So we talked about a little bit before the show how Tricia and I literally grew up here on the streets of Mystic, and we talked about some of the kids that really have never had that opportunity where we grew up on the water. It was a big part of our life.
Right.
I remember taking sailing lessons.
I think we all had to take sailing lessons.
Sure.
At the seaport,
yeah.
that's just what you did. You took sailing lessons. It basically was your dream, Spike, to connect the water to these kids.
Right.
Now, tell me a little bit about why you thought that was so important.
I grew up having the opportunity to be on the water, taking sailing lessons, and some of the more interesting things in my life have been around the water and what I learned, and feeling that the water is a shared asset, almost like air per se, but to have a foundation to be able to have one of our key core values, of which we have 4, and I'll describe each one. But the first one, the most important one, is being inclusive. Why can't that same child who may have direct access to the water but never been on it, and because they don't have the money to do so? I mean, sailing is a quote-unquote rich quote-unquote sport.
It is, yes.
And
perception-wise.
Perception-wise. And, there are, NESS owns approximately 200 boats, and so we have a huge investment. But to get individuals out in the water, living and learning and doing it in a way that challenges themselves. So we wanted to be inclusive, and that was the driving factor. And the other, we started out with kind of, 14 boats and a dream, and this past year we'll teach 3,200 children in 2014.
Wow.
And so
how long ago did NESS start?
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary as a foundation. And that was, that's, our aspirations are to continue to get many people out in the water. I mean, NESS started out, actually it was a part of the Stony Harbor Yacht Club being inclusive. Then we became a separate independent foundation from the club. And, we continue to grow. And from the prospect of teaching sailing, marine science, but now adventure sports, and also integrating a curriculum that now we partner with many schools, about 32 schools, big relationship in New London where we're looking at their curriculum and getting that out in the water, where a child starting as an after-school program, now connecting back to what they're doing in the day, they're learning in a very different way.
Right. So you mentioned the one core value. You have 3 more.
Yes. The next one is, growing up, kids aren't learning the way I did, by a book. It's, experiential, hands-on learning. Getting children in the water. The pictures that the viewers will see as they're watching tonight, will see kids in the water. Many of them have never swum before, but they're in life jackets, and we're challenging them to go pick up a horseshoe crab, try to, sail the boat when they haven't done it. So experiential, hands-on learning, getting them out there, getting their hands wet and doing it is really important. So that's the second core value. The third is a personal growth. That by doing that, the child that might have been from New London that's afraid of the water in the beginning, getting them in the water and having them have the self-confidence to do it, they're learning about themselves in ways that they've never seen. So that personal growth, self-confidence. And then the fourth, I think, is really important. Today's environment, it's stewardship. It's not only stewardship of the environment, but when you're an at-risk child in an inner city, feeling good about your community and being out in the water, knowing that the asset is there, and then going and protecting it and caring for it is really an important core value. So despite kind of NESS's growth and still looking to add to our programs, those 4 core values, inclusiveness, experiential hands-on learning, personal growth, and stewardship, drives absolutely everything of what we've been doing.
Wow.
So one of the first times I got out of the water, I was very young. Okay, I think I was
just
3
a couple
years
days
old.
ago, right?
Well, yeah, that exactly, Spike. And I remember being at Williams Beach and learning how to swim. Okay, you're getting some of these kids when they're a little bit older, not when they're young. Is there sort of that fear factor? How do they get past that? I mean, you're literally taking some of these urban city kids and saying, okay, we're going to put you out in the water with a life jacket. They've got to trust you.
They do. And I think it's that feeling of trust and knowledge of what we're teaching them that gets them exposed to things they never dreamed seeing before. I mean, we have a large relationship in New London, and it started out as a reward and recognition program. And the children would come to Stonington a couple of times a week, and they'd go over the Gold Star Bridge. And one of the things he said, that's the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's trying to be a joke, but that shows you, we forget that New London, Bridgeport, New Haven, et cetera, they're children that are right there that don't have access to the water the way we might think they would do.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, so not only do you provide these educational opportunities for the children, you also provide the recreational opportunities for just anyone in the community, correct?
Right. Yeah, and you were saying your husband came down, and anyone who takes one of our courses, be it kayaking or windsurfing, et cetera, can then use the boats on a kind of a recreational basis, and that's all about being comfortable on the water. We've had families where their children have come down, learned to sail, and then go out and take their families out. And so it's all about that learning, but getting the opportunity to practice. Once again, getting out of the water takes a physical asset, and many people don't have access to it, can't afford it, et cetera. So if they take our course, we can then get them out in the water.
Definitely. Well, we did the sea kayaking, and that was, I think, last fall, and it was such a fun experience, and it's something that I wouldn't do because we don't have the equipment to just go out and purchase it.
Right.
So it was really a unique, just like a fun way to spend a Sunday afternoon out in the water.
We don't, just to be a little bit clear, we don't have a quote-unquote rental program, so there's a checkout process, and it's really part of a course which you took. And that, to us, it's all about education. It's all about when we're working with the school system, a person, an 8th grader taking geometry may not learn it that way. But when he's out on a boat and saying, calculate the area of that triangle, and it turns out to be your jib, and you're going to calculate the area to make the boat go faster, somehow it becomes relevant.
Right. Now, when you say you're bringing some of these kids over, how you have your own transportation, or how does that work, Spike?
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to work through, we view that we're a partner with New London School System. Our key partner is the Benny Dover Jackson Middle School. Allison,
that's the right age.
Yeah, it's
that
perfect
is the right age to get the kids involved.
Start them at 6,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
now we're going up working with the New London Magnet High School and the high school. We're actually teaching or created the New London High School sailing team. But transportation is something that, as we look with our partners, New London has been able to provide. We work out some financial arrangements. We've been supportive enough through scholarship money, through donations that we've raised, because we are changing these kids and getting them a different opportunity they've never had before. But transportation, Susette is right. I mean, we've worked it out that way with pretty much all of our partners, that that we've raised scholarship money to enable the course, and they've been able to help get the transportation.
You have partnerships too.
Right.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about who you're partnering with.
I think one of the things that, from our relationship looking at the aquarium, we have a great relationship with the aquarium.
Very great relationship.
And so it's a different kind of, their value and what they can add is slightly different than what we have. When you bring them all together, a child gets a unique experience with the great research that they have, and then we take it and bring on the water. So a lot of, Denison Nature Center, with the Seaport, obviously with the schools, where we've spent a lot of time doing that. An important partner of ours is U.S. Sailing. We have helping them design and implement what they call their REACH curriculum, which is taking science, technology, engineering, and math and learning it through the sport of sailing. And we've helped them devise the curriculum, and
just
there
looking
they are.
at some of I had the opportunity to just look at some of the pictures that are on the screen right now.
Right.
Spike, just wonderful.
Yeah, and so it's, we have a great team, and I'm president and a volunteer, but our executive director Cindy Nickerson and our four program directors really do care not only of what they're teaching, but also about the kids, because at the end of the day, it really is about each child having a great experience, whether it's in our summer camp or New London or down up to Norwich or what have you, exposing them to maybe something that's a lifelong passion, which would be great.
Which will make a very big difference as they go on.
Absolutely. And now, we're focusing on summer sailing, that kind of thing. But in the off season, NESS is still running as an organization, and you're still offering just different programs from within the building, or are you?
Our floats went in yesterday, so spring is here. So, and we host the Williams High School sailing team, so they start on Monday. So our on-the-water sailing really kind of ends in November and then gets back going, right about now. But in terms of the marine sciences, it is year-round. We have tanks, and once again, getting the children to experience it. We even had a program this winter and last winter where we bring NESS to the shelters. We call it Oceans for Everyone. So why can't
to the shelters?
To the shelters.
Okay.
So why can't a child who obviously didn't choose to be in a shelter not have the opportunity to fool around with a horseshoe crab or experience what the other kids do? And once again, that's a scholarship program, but it's once again the core value of inclusive, getting everybody out who would want to.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about funding, because we know we always talk about nonprofits, and so how are you managing that, Spike, from the funding side of it? I mean, grants and...
Yeah, it's we're a nonprofit,
right?
And so right now, probably 40% of our expense base is paid for by programs.
Right.
And we raise a lot of scholarship money, but we've been fortunate enough to have significant individuals who've been helping us. We have grants. We have not been able to really get into the quote-unquote state or federal grant process.
Well, that's it. But don't you
to.
think that that's something that would be in the future once they buy into this organization and some of the programs? Because I can just see it more not only in our area, and really certainly you're branching out to New London, but I can see it's almost a statewide program. Is that?
We'd love to. I mean, the model that we have now, what we call satellites, operating away from Stonington in New London now, 4 different locations in New London, including a classroom at Benny Dover. We have our own classroom. And then we're up at Westerly, Rhode Island, Westerly Beach. The model of having satellites and bringing NESS closer to the students eliminates the transportation cost. So then they can spend money on on something more value added. But I believe that from an educational system, we started out kind of as an after-school program, but having an after-school program that connects to the curriculum during school, the kids are learning, but they don't really know they're doing it. I mean,
Right.
if you said,
Well, it's
hey,
fun.
Yeah, no, it's no. So if you say to the 8th grader, we're going to teach you geometry, yeah, lights start clicking off and he starts thinking about doing something different. But if that geometry comes out in a different form, be it surfing and learning balance and angles that way, he goes back in the classroom and then we have many, many different teachers report that, wow, he's not only paying attention, but he's understanding how that concept applied.
Absolutely. Well, it's just fascinating how far-reaching you are in, our small community and how diverse our very small community is, and the programs that you're offering. And
well, we want the community to be proud of what we've done because it is, there are many great.
And we are.
Oh no,
we
thank you.
We certainly are, Spike.
But there are many great, organizations serving kids, and we happen to be focusing on a very, well, I don't want to say niche, but using our skill set in terms of sailing, marine sciences, and adventure sports, bringing the curriculum in there to have these
and
children.
just a little bit up on the screen there too. That was just a great picture.
Surfing.
The surfing, yeah.
You're not going to see me out there.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking. I was looking for you, Spike.
Yeah,
out there.
that won't happen.
I do have a question as far as the parents of some of these kids. Do you have any interaction with them and what their, how they have seen the growth of some of these kids? And I'm sure they didn't have that opportunity. So for them to be able to send their kids to NESS is rewarding.
Yeah, well, there are 2 levels of that, Susette. The first level, starting out kind of as a quote-unquote summer camp.
Yeah.
You would have, friends that we know drop off their little son or daughter
Right.
who's kind of 6 years old, going out in the Opti, mom very nervous, child nervous, and, kind of the separation. And then son or daughter comes back and is ecstatic, went sailing. We teach them, we actually get them driving the boat the first day. And that self-confidence comes in, in terms of focusing on, be it New London or Providence or some of the things we do that way, there's kids, right next door to us who can benefit from that same self-confidence that may not be financially disadvantaged, but it's the same impact of them. So many, many stories about maybe Spike Jr. could not see his way out of a paper bag in terms of self-confidence, come back sailing and found a new sport. So that applies that level. But then, the interaction with parents there is really, it's very helpful and reinforcing to us. But the parents, say, of New London, we have 2 days a year where the parents actually come down and look at what their kids are doing on the program. And to have them see the program through their child's eyes and understanding why they may be excited coming home or what have you, I think helps the whole parental, kind of dialogue, role model, et cetera.
Now, is there a sort of an uncomfortable level when some of these parents come to visit and they're seeing, their children for the first time, and especially like from the New London area on the water? Is there, and you've got to put them at ease a little bit too.
Yeah, our most important factor in anything we do is safety.
That was a great segue because I was going to ask about the safety.
It's very important.
Yeah.
We have licensed captains. All our instructors are certified, lifeguards, all the Red Cross certifications, et cetera. Our student-instructor ratios are low enough that if something happens on the water, say a storm comes in, we can get the kids in, or if something happens on the water, there's a backup. So safety is a number 1 primary concern, because if a child doesn't feel safe, A, they won't learn, B, they won't have any fun, and C, they won't come back. And you don't want to scare them. Yes, on the first day of sailing, we'll capsize the boats, but then that's to teach them that capsizing is not the end of the world.
Right, but also to teach them this beautiful. I have the opportunity to see some of these pictures right in front. It's just magnificent. But it also gives them the opportunity to learn how to get out of that capsite, how to get back on the water, on the boat, to get the boat back to the right position. So it also, that's a learning part too.
And just the whole don't panic, I think.
Right.
I know I've been in the capsize from sailing classes, and it teaches you, like, it's not the end of the world, you get back on and just keep going. And
it's the fear. And once again, back to the kind of the core value of personal growth, knowing that they can do it. One of my earliest experiences in a sailboat was something went wrong in a boat that I was driving. And that, gave me, an understanding that I could get through it. It was kind of bad, thunder and lightning storm. I was scared to death. The mainsail had ripped. And then you figure out that you can figure out how to do it. And that's, once again, that should be accessible to everybody, not just most individuals who can afford to pay for it.
Weather through a storm, you weather through life.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
I mean, it
was a good, good,
really
good
is a
analogy.
correlation there. Tell us a little bit about the staffing that you have on board, and is there mainly volunteers or is there paid staff?
Right. We have 14 full-time staff.
That's a lot of.
That's a huge
That's
staff
surprising to
for a
me.
nonprofit.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, one of the things that we said very early on is that we wanted to make an investment in high-quality staff, and certainly our teachers, but across everything. Everybody, we want to feel that the outcome is the students. So whether you're handling registrations, or our director of operations, or whether you're director of marine science or doing New London, it's all about the students. And so we want to get high-quality people that have the passion for education and the passion for teaching and the passion for being role models for kids, because a lot of our educational system is all about role models. So 14 staff is full-time
But not
year-round.
on site. Not all on site. Is that what?
All on site.
All on site. So some of them aren't over at
No,
the.
some of them in New London.
Okay.
So two are in New London. Our locations in New London are right at Ocean Beach, and then the Benny Dover classroom in New London. But then in the summer, we probably have 20 or so more seasonal staff because of the breadth of the programs. But in New London, we received a very important beneficiary of an AmeriCorps award. So we have 7 AmeriCorps members who were children out of college participating in the AmeriCorps program. Largely, I guess it was President Clinton or Carter. I'm not actually sure, but designed to bring these children with these high school, these college graduates with passion into cities to cure poverty. And so we were fortunate enough to win an award that got us access to 7 of them.
Yes, that was a great, yes.
Which is then they are in New London now in the Benny Dover School, actually being role models and helping the teachers out during the day. So now with New London, we will see these children and students year round.
That's excellent. Right. And I think about also, when you say to your kid during the summer, go outside and play. This is like taking play to a whole nother level of just out there experiencing something, getting, the fresh air and learning. And, it's some of these kids may not come from an area where they actually have a place to play.
Right.
And they have this ocean right here in our area, in our community that anyone can use, like you're saying.
Sure.
And anyone should be using. One thing that impressed me is I was looking through all of your different, you have quite the fleet of
Quite the fleet. Quite the fleet.
Yes.
That's one thing I was discussing with my husband today right before the show, and he did not know.
I did not realize 75 sailboats in Stonington and 25 in New London. So the 25 in New London, are those the New London High School sailing, or?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to have 10 Flying Juniors donated to us from Pfizer, and those were the boats that we use for New London for the high school sailing team. It's also, we have a very good relationship with New London Community Boating, and there'll be an announcement of that shortly, but that relationship's going to be even bigger. And I think when I think about what Carolyn Lewis and Katie Bradford have done for sailing in New London, a free program, it's something that's exactly what we do, and we hope to continue to expand that, once again, having the program all about the kids. But we wound up by having a lot of floating assets.
Right,
Yes,
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Spike, tell us a little bit about, and we got a few minutes here, the future. The 5-year sort of strategic plan in your mind, where we can see NESS. Because certainly, before we were, on the show talking about how Tricia and I do our homework, and how really there was a little bit of an ignorance part on my behalf, and even my husband's behalf, that I thought I knew everything about NESS. And just to get this out there, and all of you viewers in the community, but you're more than just NESS, I have to say, and I'm very proud, along with Tricia, to have you in our part of the world, and to sort of see that future. So, in your mind, if you were to do a sort of a strategic plan in 5 years, well, yeah. So where is NESS
I think
in 5 years?
We've grown tremendously. You know, back in 2008, we were 184 students, and now we have 3,200. So one of the things that we're working on is just managing that growth and making sure we have the same quality program, that we can look and give each individual student a high quality experience. But what we hope to do longer term is this formula for experiential hands-on learning, the core values, the personal growth and inclusiveness. If we can take this model and work, starting with other school systems, like Norwich is, you know, we have a good relationship with them and they're coming to NESS.
The Thames.
Sure.
It's right there.
Is that good?
These beautiful kids, like these kids.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what I hope to have happen is that we will continue to have a very strong summer program where, you know, in Stonington, but now at Ocean Beach, we're running summer programs there, kayaking, et cetera. That will be the base, and while those are normally full tuition paying, we have scholarships there that, you know, making kids, you know, get out in the water in the summer. But I hope that as we grow and work with more school systems, you know, reaching out to Norwich, reaching out to maybe as far down as Bridgeport, New Haven, that the model that we have, that satellites can work with the school system. You know, it's great when, you know, when we start working with the actual teacher, the sixth grade science teacher, that we become more relevant to him or her to help them get a concept in the classroom across that they might not have been able to do as effectively. And if you're doing it with, you know, quote unquote at-risk kids or people, you know, children that, you know, have some opportunities that they haven't been able to take advantage of, the more that we can do that, the better. If we then can create a model, a template to work for this with Chicago or another, you know, other city, you know, that would be great. But we have so much work to do right now. And even the branding that you were talking about, it doesn't surprise me that our effort and what we're doing, you know, Susette, you're one of the more plugged in people I know, and Tricia, you know, absolutely. But we have to, you know, we have to continue to get the message across, and, you know, we are trying to add value to our children, to our students in a different way that's collaborative, that is building, and that are going to make, you know, hopefully better citizens.
So if people want more information about New England Science and Sailing, where should they?
We have a website. You know, as I've looked at your new website, we have a new website too. That is
It's right there, right under the founder here, and on Facebook here.
That's Stonington, and you're located in the borough of Stonington, but that's just one of your locations.
Right.
You have the satellites now.
We call it the mothership. The mothership is 70 Water Street in the Stonington. It used to be the old Garbo's facility.
Right, the lobster,
The lobster pound, and was the Mohegans, and we purchased it from the Mohegans. But then we have what we call satellite operations in Ocean Beach. We're right in the concession, right in that in your front gift shop, which is great. And it's wonderful beach and kayaking, et cetera. So people can come down and do kayaking there. And then we work with Mitchell College to the high school sailing team, and then working for their collegiate team, and, you know, our relationships with New London Community Boating, and then actually in the classroom, because that's the beachhead.
Spike Lovedale, thank you, president and founder of NESS. Thank you for bringing
Good to see you.
For educating us this evening and for bringing the water to our children.
Well, spring is definitely here, right?
Yeah.
So thank you.
We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, Mystic Matters. Thank you, Tricia. It's
Thank you,
good.
Susette.
I'll see you next week.
We will see you
and
next
we're
week.
back on. Good evening.
Thank you.